We can scooch. I'm gonna scooch back in. You're good. Come sit here, I'll show my mic.
Does anybody have any questions, additions, subtractions they want to discuss?
Apparently not.
One of the questions I anticipated and discussion points was that ERS reserve use, because I was having my own philosophical back and forth on that.
No, I think we're in a safe, I think putting us at a 2.68 is probably a smart place to be. The reserves, we'll have to see how it plays out, I think. That's what it comes down to. You know, there's a little bit of a risk there, I think, but overall, it puts us in the right place.
You were able to convince me to go to 7.151. 155,000 is nothing.
I've been looking to him the whole time.
No, I think you guys have done a very good job. I think, you do have to be patient because, it's like you never get your final revenue numbers till the very end. And thankfully, at least for the last few years, it's kind of been fairly dependable that the final budget comes in a little bit higher than the numbers that you get to work with all along. And so I think you guys have done a good job, and thank you, and I'm comfortable with the number and your explained rationale for coming in at the proposed tax rate that we're at.
As far as the reserve, I mean, I said a little bit what I thought, but I also think that the level of the reserve is enough with the 3 years that if there's a problem next year and you need to go a little bit into it, it still will be around 3 years. It's not going to decimate it.
ERS is nowhere near the significant expense that TRS is, and unfortunately, as much as they've spoken about it at the state level, there has been no accommodation made for districts to set up a TRS reserve. It's not going to change the expenditure anyway, but it would allow us to possibly, or any district for that matter, to put a little money aside to deal with, for instance, this year, it's the first year in quite a bit of time where TRS contribution rates for districts have gone up, and that's no control of ours or anyone here.
And the explanation that I read about it didn't really make any sense to me.
They lowered the return on investment of the, I mean, it's been a fairly reliable set of funds.
I mean,
but
in this climate, it didn't make any sense to me, which, I guess it's a lot. I don't know.
So they're using actuarial tables, they're
Right.
using all kinds of who knows what types of digital tools, but they lowered the return on investment from 7.5 to 7.25, and there's the increase from 9.8% increase this year to 10% this year. ERS has gone down. Like I said, it's not as significant a total, less people involved, and the salaries are not as high, but it's still, if that shot up from 14.9% to 16.5%, that would be a hit. Don't think it's going to happen, but it could.
Everybody good? Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
We're good.
Thank you, everybody involved in the process of putting this together.
I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't hear what you said.
I said thank you to everyone
Oh.
involved in putting the whole budget together.
So we will have this budget ready to go, and I believe the property tax report card for April 16th. I would just like to acknowledge Dr. Acker and her staff, I have to get used to that, for the work that they did in putting all of these numbers together. And it takes a lot of time and energy to get this right. And I can tell you the eye for detail, I can assure you that it is 100% there. So thank you, Kathy and staff.
Will you guys be presenting this at the upcoming PTA meetings for anybody who has questions and stuff like that? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I was having questions I know the answer to. It's fun.
Those are the only questions I'd ask. They're in the trunk, Marco. See, I took that part in the budget process.
Okay, that takes us to curriculum and instruction, and Ms. McCoy.
It is upon recommendation from the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Education approve CSE, CPSE submissions as delineated.
Get a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Emily, and a second?
I'll second.
Christine?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? That is everyone. Moving on.
So the first item that we'd like to discuss tonight is the adoption of a K-5 science program. We piloted a program at all of the elementary schools, at all of the primary schools, as well as at Woodhull this year, after looking at several programs due to the fact that the state standards have changed. So in anticipation, we are looking at the Oneida Herkimer Madison BOCES Science Kit, an online curriculum, which provides each grade level with 4 kits per year with approximately 12 lessons per kit. The lessons are hands-on and provided in a bin. They're labeled, and it is a lease program, so the bins come in, and then we send them back out, and it's not something that we actually have to supplement in district each year. This program was created by teachers in New York State and is in a constant revision process, so they come in monthly to revise the curriculum, and it also is pushed out through the learning management system. So as it's updated, we get the updates in real time. If we want to provide feedback to the company, or to the vendor, which is a BOCES, we're able to do that through the learning management system as well, and there are multiple districts across New York State that are using this program.
Cool. So can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Jen, and a second?
I'll second it.
Emily, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, just a question. It says year one, it's gonna be, you know,
That
the
was my
cost.
question.
Is it gonna continue to be the same cost year after year, or will the cost fluctuate, decrease?
We're looking at 2 different programs. Year one, the program is more expensive. There will be about a $90,000 cost per year. We have approximately $48,000 put aside in the science code each year to supplement this curriculum. And then there's monies in the textbook workbook code that we can also use, as well as some replenishment funds in the building budgets.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
The kits, they're per student, or they're for each, like, do the students all get their hands on it, or?
The kits are per class, and there are enough materials for all students to work on each activity in the hands-on.
Okay,
all
so
the
they're not
hands-on
watching
materials.
somebody else do it, they're
No,
actually doing it?
no,
Okay.
yeah, it's per class.
And then, is there a lot of professional development goes along with it, or?
There is professional development. Our teachers that are doing the pilot program right now have already received training, and then we'll provide additional training for all the teachers if the program is adopted for the upcoming school year.
Is this aligns with like kind of the inquiry-based model that we use in other, like in STEM and in other opportunities where we can, so that it's really student-driven as opposed to, I mean, apart from just being hands-on?
It is. It's aligned with the New York State Science Learning Standards, which were recently adopted, and it brings us on par with what all the standards are asking for, as opposed to how things had been done in the past with the New York State standards. So there are shifts based on the next generation science standards that New York State has adopted, yes.
And you piloted
Yes.
it already.
It's
so-
being piloted currently in all the buildings except for Jack Abrams, because Jack Abrams does use a different science curriculum in grades 4 and 5 that provides for additional opportunities and time, because they have an additional science period that they have every day in that building.
Anybody else? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? That's everybody. Moving on to grade 6 science.
Grade 6. So again, this program is, we're looking at for grade 6 at both Woodhull and at STEM. We're currently using the TCI program in grades 4 and 5 at STEM, and we'd like to extend it into the 6th grade. With the new New York State Science Learning Standards, 6th grade is now part of the middle school band of standards. The 3 units that we would be teaching are ecosystems, energy and forces, and waves. This program includes an interactive online component, and just to mention, the other program did have that as well. Presentation materials, tutorials for teachers, and sample assessments. In year 1, we would purchase class sets of the hardcover textbooks, the interactive student workbooks, and the manipulative-based kits. And in year 2, the cost does drop because we would only need to order the consumables.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Jen?
Make a
Second, Xavier? Any questions?
That I saw a lesson recently, which actually was excellent. It was on earthquakes primarily, and it started with a short series of photographs showing an area that had been hit by an earthquake, with some structures that were decimated and others that were left standing, and the students had to hypothesize why that happened. And some of them did say that the fault line hit here and not here, and they got the sense that, all right, the fault line's going to be a little bit more impactful than just one building. But the culminating activity had them building earthquake-resistant structures, and they themselves turned it into a little competition, and they didn't know they were in school. I'll leave it at that.
It's a great lesson,
Very cool.
yeah.
And this is all part of our commitment to expanding the program,
Absolutely,
so.
yes.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? No, I have a motion and a second, all in favor? That is everyone. Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Moving on to personnel.
Okay, I am asking the board for approval of personnel items on schedules 5, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, and 22.
Everyone has that, get a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Christine, and a second.
Second.
Barry, anybody have any questions? All in favor? That is everybody. Okay, moving to our business agenda, and Dr. Actor.
Okay, it's upon recommendation from the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Education approve items I through Q on this evening's business agenda.
So everybody has that, if I could get a motion to approve?
Motion?
Barry, and a second.
I'll second it.
Emily, anybody have any questions? No? All in favor? That's everyone.
We have one donation too that we'd like to thank them for. We are thanking Mr. Fred Mongo for a donation of a grinder and a box of stained glass to the Huntington High School Arts Department, and we'd like to thank him very much for his donation.
Okay, take us to our second public commentary of the evening. Same rules apply as the first public commentary. If anyone would like to come to the microphone, you may do so now. Take that as a no. Anybody have any additional comments they'd like to make?
I just have one really quick comment, because we haven't brought this up at all in any of the budget meetings, but there, in addition to voting on the budget and the propositions that accompany the budget, there's also going to be candidates on the board, running for Board of Education seats, and the Meet the Candidates night, I believe, is May 3rd at 7 PM. I'm not sure where it is, though. Is it?
Finley, I believe.
It's usually at Finley, and it's usually run by Suffolk County, I'm guessing, is there PTA? people?
Michelle Castera.
Michelle, is it run by Suffolk County?
No, she's not here. She's definitely running it.
She's nominated.
Okay, so just, bear in mind that there's 3 seats up this year, so I think the petitions aren't due yet, but there are going to be people running, and Meet the Candidates Thursday, May 3rd. It's really important to go hear what people have to say.
Okay, anybody else?
I have one more, Tom. That is, I will be unable to attend the meeting Monday night, which is where we will adopt the budget. So I know I can't vote in absentia, but I will just state that I am in full support and agreement in the rest of you guys adopting this budget.
Thank you,
Thank
Bill.
you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Get a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Barry, in a second. Christine, all in favor? That's everyone. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Nice, something really cool. Okay, so I'm just
Good.
letting you know.
Good with purple. Very good with purple. Purple.
Better,
Purple's my color.
Things calm down in your email.
Send me an email, call me, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
I need her to just, she hasn't eaten anything.
Just need rest.